flashing like a Tesla. He most def got a vision. Weekly round table, we got no cables. Predicting the future using their bagels. Chart is throwing out numbers, no trouble. He finds the gems for real, no struggle. Calculations running through your mind. Weighing options, seeing what you find. Crypto waves crashing like the tide. Hold your breath, it's a crazy ride. Welcome to the weekly round table, where the takes are hot and FOMO set to disable. Welcome to the weekly round table.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the weekly roundtable this week, going on almost the last week of October. Just before we get started, I want to make sure everyone understands that nothing we say here is financial advice. It is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'd like to welcome the usual panel this week, Juan G and Chart Davidson. How are you guys doing this week?
I'm amazing. Notice the PFP change. I'm turning green from holding my breath, waiting for October to start. So can you get this thing rolling or what?
And how you doing, Juan?
Kicking ass this week. Great news in Forex, lots of volatility. Time to hopefully it continues into the next week. But yeah, so far, awesome day.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get into it. Okay, so I guess the first thing we'll touch on is Bitcoin. As usual, every week we'll talk about the Bitcoin chart and what it is doing. It recently broke out of the bull flag that it had been ranging in for quite a long time. And it has retested a couple of times. So what we will do is we will bring up Chart and he will give us an analysis on Bitcoin. What are you seeing in the charts, Mr. Davidson?
Let me find myself here. All right, there we go.
Okay, no problem.
Well, the thing is, as you can see the screen, right? The issue was initially is can we get out of that long fractal, right? And the fractal was really, I'll show you on the screen. It was really like in here. So this was the whole fractal, right? We were either going to go down, obviously, into like this section and maybe sub that, or somewhere in here where we would tread until probably the new year and then break out. What really happened was we got out of it really soon, right? So we got out of it and then came down to retest it. I know Juan would want to take all the credit for this, but normally there's a retest happening every single time there's a breakout of any fractal. So, when we had this retest, we had this pump now. I think that's going to continue. I think there's too many bullish events happening within the next 2-3 weeks. And I don't foresee any scenario where we go down here. If anything, we tread sideways until the election and then we get out of here. This is why I think most likely by the end of the year, you probably get up to close to 100,000. If that makes any sense, because, the top for us is about 120, right? So my top is roughly around there, right? So we're looking at a lot of confluence here, right? At 120. And that could happen within, next 2 months, 3 months. We don't know how fast action is going to be, but we'll see how far we can get to in a short period of time. And if we get really quick, we might take a while to get through that distribution and then on the way down. So let's see how that works out, because everything is pointing towards a really, really big bull run. And we have so many other charts we can look at to point to that. We have the dominant chart is trying to, do a move here where it's done it in the past. So what I mean by that is, in our last bull run, we had this pump right in here, okay? And then a straight down. So straight down. And that was our bull run. So is history going to repeat? I think there's a possibility of that happening, really, because we need Bitcoin to be strong in order for all of the altcoins to go. We need, essentially a direction from Bitcoin. And we can probably get that quickly up to here and then straight down, like we saw before, where it just hovers there and then that's the bull run. In terms of the actual dominance, I have a nice theory about the possibility of altcoins going crazy, and not just a bit crazy to the point where I think dominance for Bitcoin is going to be about 20% by the end of it. Why? Because we have these three sections, right? the first initial section, which was in the period of 2013 to about 2017. And then this section where we're in right now, right? Which I think is 2 bull runs, essentially. And then the next one has to be down here. And we get that. That means even with like a $10 trillion market cap, total market cap of crypto, 20% for all of altcoins is insane, right? Think about that, 20% of total market cap. Sorry, 20%. That means 80% of total market cap is altcoins. Okay, that includes Ethereum, includes all the majors and even memes. So I think there's a possibility of that happening. Now, if it doesn't happen, right, and we go straight back to the original drop, which was I think at 40%, then it's still pretty decent for altcoins. It's not a bad thing that we only have 40% dominance of Bitcoin, and then the rest of it is about 60%. But we want to have as much dominance for altcoins as we can, because that will give every single altcoin the chance to just do crazy numbers. So really looking forward to that. I think we're very close.
Well, I tell you, if we do get to 80% altcoin dominance, man, altcoins are going to rip. People are going to make a lot of money. Yeah, exactly.
And I think there is a chance of that happening, because like, as I'm looking at on the chart, and I'm looking at what I know things happen in threes. We had this initial dominance for Bitcoin, which was super strong, right? Not many altcoins were in the market. Even if they were being dominated by Bitcoin at the end of the day, right? It was like 99% dominance. And then when altcoins came about, right, then we had some dominance issues for Bitcoin, because it was struggling to gain back the initial, 90, 80%, 70% dominance. And then I think what's going to happen is more tokens are being accounted for in the total crypto cap. I think Bitcoin dominance has to go down. And maybe it doesn't happen this bull run, but it definitely will in the future bull runs. Does that mean, all these altcoins are going to have some crazy valuations? Not necessarily. It depends on how many more altcoins are being considered in the total market cap. And so if we have like, 1 million altcoins, and they're all accounted for, then, Bitcoin can't have a fairly sizable dominance over all altcoins, because they're all sharing that small pie, right? And Bitcoin can be up here or down here and still dominate altcoins, right? Because there's so many of them, and their share is much, much smaller overall, right? Does that make any sense? Interesting.
Right. As usual, that's what's that?
Is that interesting? Like, does it make
sense?
Yeah,
no, completely. You know what? Out of all the analysis that I've seen, this is the first I've seen of yours, even that you are looking at it like that, which actually makes a lot of sense, and it's interesting.
I mean, I'm trying to understand, like, where is this chart going to go, right? Because at some point it's going to have to do something. Does it reject here and go down, right? Or does it stop at the level that we just talked about, which is down here, right? And that would obviously make, first high, second high, which is a lower high, and there's going to be a third lower high, right? That gets into the next section, right? If now this dominance chart actually prints, a high here at 71%, that means alts are getting screwed right now, right? And it's going to have to, they're all going to have to wait, a month or two before they get their momentum again. And so I don't think that's going to happen, right? So, if we get that lower high somewhere here, right? That means we're going to most likely get that 40% again. And then maybe next bull run, we get that breakthrough. And that's going to be amazing, obviously, right? So just keep that in mind, basically, going forward.
All right. Give someone else or something else for us to think about.
And the last thing I want to say before we hand it off to Juan to talk about nonsense. Here's a tether chart, which essentially talks about crypto, where the purchasing power lies. Like, are people swapping crypto for tether or tether for crypto? So the dominance of tether is on this chart, and the higher this is, the lower crypto is in general terms. Okay, so we really want this chart to be dumping as much as possible, and we can see this on the weekly scale, where this candle is being pushed constantly. You see these wicks, these strong wicks. They're basically telling me that there's downwards pressure from the bulls, essentially buying into any dip that we see. And so this chart eventually is going to break through, and it's going to come through this area, and then it's going to get into the third section of this chart. Again, first section, second section, and this is the third. And that's going to be the top of the bull run, if anyone's keeping score. Back to you, Juan.
Yay. So again, I agree with my boy over here. Looking at the charts, the way he broke it down, it is decision time. We've been waiting for that for a while. What we predicted last week, 2-1, kind of prayed to fruition, where it did kind of want to liquidate those lows, those longs, and then come balance back out. Week over week, we kind of stayed flat, right? Around the same price. But with that being said, when you look at it at a macro level and you see what's going on around other sectors, right, money likes to find money. And when you check out what's happening in the stocks, where relatively, like today, the news was good, but yet a lot of sell-offs happened. Why? Well, money got to go somewhere, right? And I think they are kind of starting to build that portfolio to make a run at Bitcoin because they know it's going to happen, right? Gold was on a run and kind of just took a pause. Again, why? Because people are pulling out money. So when you see people pulling out money, they're going to make a move in the sector. And I think Bitcoin's that sector they're going to put in that money into. So I look forward to kind of seeing that this next level of the bull run coming in. The volume's been picking up week over week. So there's huge interest now to kind of see what we're going to do. Election's getting nearer. People want to hedge their bets on the consensus of what the winner's going to look like, and whoever wins, what that volume's going to look like. And the funny part is, normally you would see that Trump win would kind of blow up everything up. And now you're kind of seeing this hesitation where, especially when you see it in the gold market, they're really concerned who's going to win. Before, it didn't matter. It's like, okay, we need Trump to win, right? Now it's kind of like, if Harris wins, what does that look like now? And those are the things that I'm kind of looking into to see how many people, how much volume we're going to get in these markets that kind of make it worthwhile. And when there's volume in the market, someone wants to win that volume. And I think that Bitcoin is going to be that place. I would hedge my bets on a nice positive movement, but probably within the next, like I said, during this whole election period time. So you just got to get in, find a nice little sweet spot, and hopefully we can take advantage of this run. But just got to keep an eye on the charts because you just don't know when it's going to happen.
Well, unless, you claim to know, as you did last week. But going, in saying that, I do want to share my screen. I've got I'm not sure if anyone follows this, but I like to take a look at the liquidation heat map. And here it is here. Now, we've had a lot of volatility. Bitcoin always has volatility, but the last couple of days, it was really accentuated. And we were saying off before the stream started that, at least in the prior bull market, before we had that banana zone, before we did that major run up, there were a lot of longs that were in the market, and the market makers wanted to clear that liquidity before we started our way up. And as you can see here, yesterday, there was close to $6 billion in longs, or liquidation, around the 65,000, which is what it went to yesterday. And these are all fresh longs. But you can see there's a lot of shorts over here on the other side. So, now the market makers got to make a decision which way they want to go. Do they want to have a short squeeze and get rid of all these shorts? Or are they going to dip again to get rid of these longs before the next leg up? Because as Chart alluded to, we have been bouncing around that zone. We broke through the bull flag that we've been riding in for like 6 months, and we've now retested it a couple days in a row. So, we'll have to wait and see. TA can only go so far. Sometimes manipulation in the market makers, they predict or they dictate the movements of Bitcoin and the overall market. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. So that's the Bitcoin chart, unless either one of you have any other things to add about the...
I was going to say, it looks like a lot of shorts are being stacked fairly tightly against this range on the upper edge of that range. Exactly. Because, it doesn't look like there's a lot of spreading going around where the longs have been spread out. Right, so it doesn't look like they're stacking at the very, very end of that resistance.
That's right. And interesting here, there's quite a few longs right around that 70,000, which is one of those. It's a psychological number, which I'm not sure why people would want to do leverage trading with psychological numbers, but hey, what it is, what it is.
And don't forget, we still have the large Bitcoin ETF inflows, right? So that has been also part of this price stabilization, right? So every time, even if a decision was to be made on the market, these inflows kind of start sparking a movement or stabilization. So that's been ETFs are probably also playing a role here, and why we're not seeing these huge swaths of moves yet.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And speaking of ETFs, over the last week or so, there's been a lot of inflows, like quite a lot, the most seen since July and even before that, May. And the other thing I noticed too, the last 2 days, I was talking to you guys about it, there's a little bit of outflows in mainly the BlackRock ETF, Bitcoin ETF, which have been transferring over to the Ethereum inflows, like to the Ethereum ETF. So we could see some volatility in Ethereum soon. I know Ethereum hasn't really been doing that great. Ethereum against Bitcoin has been doing terrible, as everyone knows. So maybe people are starting to see that Ethereum is kind of, nothing's happening and no one's really paying attention to it. So now's the time to get in, and maybe there'll be a price increase on that. Charlie, I did want to ask you one more thing. If you could pull up possibly the DXY. I haven't seen it today, but I wanted to see how the dollar is doing actually, because we really need to see a pullback on the DXY before Bitcoin can really make any kind of a move. What are we at, 104? Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a nonsense move. This little bounce that we had, right? So
hitting resistance there, which is kind of
I don't expect it to be anything more than that, right? It's just a little bounce move, just to touch up the line and then come back down. So I fully believe this is going to just keep going down, and we're going to have a good 2025. 26, I'm not sure, because like if we get down to like this level here, expect some selling off at this level here, right? And then we have another pump to the next whatever it is. Could be like 120, 130. Because if we totally zoom this out, like if you go to the monthly scale, right, you can see how this works, right? So we have this trading right in here, and then it's going to go back up again, who knows, maybe a year or two. So we'll see what happens. I mean, inflation can go up again, oil can go up again, rates can go up again. There's so many factors here happening, with BRICS.
Yeah.
You heard about what's happening with BRICS, like,
mm-hmm.
Who the hell knows, right? So
yeah, you got BRICS, you got the Middle East, there's Russia, Ukraine. I mean, there's all kinds of things. And, traditionally risk assets, they like conflict. So people will flock to risk assets with risk on when there are world conflicts. So, but not initially. So let's say tomorrow, for example, God forbid it doesn't happen, but we get the news that a war has started, an all-out war over in the Middle East, or even Russia, increasing their tensions over against Ukraine. Initially, there will be a market dump, but I think if that continues, the war continues, you'll start to see risk assets go up. It wouldn't be good for the stock market, the S&P, and all that. It would be bad, but risk assets like gold and Bitcoin and crypto would probably see a positive result over time with that. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's not
now, at least. Maybe in a few years.
What's that?
Well, not now. Maybe in a few years.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Wait till the bear market. You're gonna,
Yeah. Right. Let me just cash out and go hide somewhere in a bunker.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, but I mean, in a perfect scenario, we have the conflicts calm down, peace talks resume, Trump wins the election, won, and then we enter into the massive bull market phase. So that would be ideal, but we'll wait and see what happens. Okay, so let me focus our attention over here to the news. First, I'm going to look at the markets. You can see my screen. Okay, yep. I'm going to bring us up. All right. So here we go. The markets currently: Bitcoin 68,191, Ethereum, as I had alluded to, 2530. It's been hovering, between the 22 and 25 for a little bit. It'd be nice to see Ethereum have a little bit of a pump. It's down on the week 4.25%. Solana has been doing incredible. Had a little bit of a cool off period, and I think it's back to its strength. It's been outperforming the market the last few days for sure. A few notables, XRP, I'm not sure why you're in that. If you are, I would recommend not being in that. Not financial advice. Let's see what we got. Chainlink, Litecoin, AVAX, most of them are down, a percent, under a percent to a couple percent for the week. So nothing too exciting there. Now, if we go to the Bitcoin news, I did read something in here which is quite interesting. Um, okay, so Standard Chartered, I'm sure everyone's heard of them. They're predicting Bitcoin surge to 125K with a Trump win. Now, I didn't go into detail in the article, so I don't know if they were saying for the bull market top or if they're saying like short term after the election. But I mean, either way, it will be positive for crypto if Trump does get in. I mean, the other side is saying that they're pro crypto as well, but I mean, it's well known that that Trump is the pro crypto candidate because he's got, you know, people like Elon Musk and stuff on his side, and everyone knows that they're very bullish on crypto. What was the other thing I read? Oh yeah, Pennsylvania has passed a pro crypto bill, so I mean, things are falling in place in Pennsylvania, in the state of Pennsylvania. It's not sure it's true. I don't know if you can believe polls and stuff, but apparently they're leaning toward the Trump campaign, and because of, you know, his pro crypto stance, they're becoming a pro crypto state, just like Florida and a few others have as well. Let's see. Altcoin season more probable once Bitcoin hit 80K, kind of like what you guys were alluding to up there. You know, Bitcoin's got to have a little bit of a dominance run, and then it'll bleed and go into the altcoin. So we'll see what happens. Any comments on any of that, gentlemen? Start with you, Juan.
Overall, the news though has been positive. When you kind of even look at today, we had additional news. Unemployment came out today. Even though they didn't hit forecasts, better than expected. When you look at home sales, better than expected. When you look at flash services, again, PMI, better than expected. So there's a lot of good stuff that's happening in the market that's just kind of generating this buzz that's helping in the crypto space. Totally agree. I think that to hear both sides when it comes to whoever wins is definitely, you know, people are looking forward to it. I totally agree that having a Trump candidacy will probably push the cryptocurrency up, but the fact that having a Harris candidacy is not pushing crypto down is what I'm seeing that's different this time. Maybe it won't reach 120, but heck, 100K Bitcoin, I don't think people will be complaining either. But seeing that the economy is starting to chug along with especially with the market rate cuts, that money is going to start flowing in here. So excited to see that.
Speaking of rate cuts, before you go ahead, Chart, Canada just reduced theirs by another 50 basis points, kind of an emergency drop, which was nice to see. Sorry, go ahead.
Awesome. They're in two different worlds, like the Fed and the Canadian Bank of Canada, right? Like Canada is in way worse shape than the U.S. market is apparently. So it's going to be interesting to see how far they cut. The Fed will cut, because I know they reacted with 0.5 or 50 basis points. We should have been 25. So now they're looking at everything going, well, maybe we can't really cut anymore. Maybe we'll pause and then maybe cut again in January.
Right.
So, but I know Canada had to do it because our numbers are across the board terrible. And the issue also comes up with renewals, mortgage renewals that actually happened in 2020. So people that were getting free mortgages, practically free mortgages in 2020, have to be on for renewals next year. And, you know, having to renew all of a sudden at 3x or 4x what the rate you initially negotiated is going to be incredible for some. So I don't think a lot of people are going to be interested in, you know, renegotiating where their mortgage is tripled, right? And so this is why I think Bank of Canada needs to get to a decent rate before all the renewals come on board. And I'm not sure what's happening with the US in terms of renewals, but I'm sure they're in the same boat relatively, because I think the interest rates were pretty low in the US, even in 2020. And so let's see what happens with these interest rates. I'm curious to see if we're going to have, sub 3 lending rates again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Europe is doing, right? Because before the US even did their cuts, Europe had already done 2 of theirs. So they were already ahead of the game. So maybe looking out to our partners to the east of us, right, might show maybe a little highlight to where the next rate cut might come and what that might look like. So I'm looking forward to see that.
Just a quick shout out. Hey, Black Cat, I see you in the chat, as well as David and Block Farm. Nice to see you guys here. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so continuing on, this is just general market news now. See if there's anything that stands out. Talking about altcoin season. Bitcoin whale accumulation hit 670K all-time high. And then why is Solana's price up today? Now, I mean,
we should be talking really about the hash rate actually being at an all-time high, because Bitcoin hash rate is usually a leading indicator of Bitcoin price. So as hash rate is actually rising, price will obviously tail that. And maybe touch on how Bitcoin miners are doing, because I know I was looking at Riot today, it's up 4.5%, almost hit like a $10.30 or something like that. So I'm really happy as an owner of Riot shares, and I got some calls on Riot as well. So
yeah, I got I've dabbled in CleanSpark, and same thing. Yeah. So yeah, I was just talking about the Solana rise. Well, we all know that kind of Solana is basically the Binance or the BNB from the last run, where it came from obscurity and just kind of went on a massive run. And Solana's right in the middle of that. It had, like I said, a healthy correction. I think now it's ready to continue as long as Bitcoin plays along. I think it'll continue up as well. So not a whole lot in the news. Mining hash rate all-time high. ETF inflows are doing great. Ethereum inflows are beginning to increase. And Bitcoin ranging. And we could have another little bit of a liquidation attempt down, and then we could see some short squeeze and the market go up. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Okay, so this is we don't really do sponsors or anything on this channel. I don't think I ever will. But when I believe in something, or when I'm a part of something, such as Chart Davidson and Degens, which will be showing their information shortly. There's a group I'm in on Telegram called Defi Club, and gentleman Chris Durgan, he's the owner of the page. He's also a university professor. He started this web page, as you see here, called DeFi University. What it is basically is just you can sign up for free, and what it is, I'll post the sign up thing. So what it is it's kind of like an information website where anyone that's getting into crypto, or even if you've been in crypto for a while, he shows different liquidity pools, a good introduction and explaining of different aspects of crypto. For example, here, staking, an article he just put in recently, investing in now what, different liquidity pools of the week. Each and every week he will show. There's so many different areas. There's courses, there's events, upcoming events, AMA video streams that he's going to be doing. And it's all free, just to use the program, join in the discussion, and there is a paid membership as well, obviously. But I mean, it's not necessary. But if you do pay, then you can get one-on-one classes and stuff like that. I am one of the article writers for him. He's been gracious enough to allow me to contribute to his website, which I really enjoy, and I will post articles, every couple of days. I'll post one in, just talking about different things like Ponzi schemes. We have interactive conversations about different tokens that we like. Here's me again, lending, SUI, so on and so on. What is token investing? So just to kind of give people an idea of what is going on in the crypto space, how to navigate, and different ways to take advantage of the space. So the link is there on the screen. It will also be in the description, as well as his Telegram. Highly recommend if you are looking for a place to kind of go and educate yourself about crypto. That is a great place to go. Now, speaking of that, I will bring us up. Chart Davidson, who is our resident chart guy, even though him and Juan may not always agree. They get along great, but they may not always agree, which is great. That's one of the good things about this panel, is that we don't always just agree and yes sir, no sir. We have our own opinions, which is amazing. But he is part of an NFT project called Degens, and he's also got a live stream, or a stream every day on Twitter, and that's at 9 or 9:30 a.m. Eastern every day. And then every Thursday at noon, there's also the Degens, what is it, Crypto Weekly with Friends, or Crypto Weekly with Friends.
Yes, it's basically like a round table with people that want to join the stream. And sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't have guests. It's just, It's very free-flowing kind of discussion around crypto. It's fun. It's supposed to be a lighthearted weekly discussion around crypto. So
Exactly.
And that link right there is our free newsletter that we're going to start, I think, next week. And so if anyone's interested in, getting a free newsletter in the email that you normally check, please do so. Sign up. It contains a whole bunch of new things, weekly setups, the markets and as a whole. For newbies, there's a newbie section, so it's gonna be a lot of fun, and it's free.
Yeah,
so
here it is
sign
up on the screen.
Exactly.
The website's on the screen, as well as the actual sign up sheet. So you just put in your email, subscribe, and when they begin to write up those articles, you'll get the one weekly.
You don't have to do anything but read. That's all you got to do, right?
Exactly.
just
exactly.
Read.
The links for DGen's Discord and your Twitter, as well as this link for this weekly newsletter, will be in the description as well. Everything's there. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Now, I guess. Now we can do the roundtable section. We got people. Hold on, I want to get this chat. Yeah, I wanted to get you your thoughts on this chart. Block Farm was saying that the Canadian Fed or the Canadian government is creating a huge bubble. I'm not exactly sure what he means by that. What are your thoughts?
I don't think so, because we've managed to contain our inflation. Right, that was the biggest situation for us. Is our inflation boomed to some crazy level. I can't remember what it was, but it was, I think, closer to like 7%. Was it 7% at some point? Maybe 8%.
Yeah.
And so it was really difficult to get it down very quickly without compromising something. So it's got to be a trade-off at some point. So the trade-off was everything for a short period of time is going to be very expensive, right? So your borrowing costs will be expensive. You getting a car will be expensive. Getting a mortgage will be expensive. Transportation costs will be expensive. So everything's going to be expensive for a short period of time. And then once inflation does go down, we can kind of lower it to the point where it could be manageable, right? So the manageable amount of inflation you want to be is like 2.1, 2.2%, maybe 2.3%. Anything over 3 is problematic, right? Everything over 7 is crazy, right? Like Argentina, what was it? Like they had 100% inflation or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It
was pretty bad.
The value went down pretty much to nil. Yeah.
Yeah. And they started to obviously get it back under control, but you really don't want to get into hyperinflation, right? Because that's when basically your money is worthless, where every month or every day the price of things change. So, I just feel like we've done a good job getting back to where we were before 2020, right? Because that was the initial thing that created this whole mess for us, right? Giving people free money when they didn't need to have free money is what started this whole mess. And it's unfortunate the world suffered. Everybody suffered through this financially. So it's good that we were finally getting back to where we are, where we should be. Interest rates should be about 2.75, 2.99, maybe 3.25, and then everyone can get back to normal, whatever normal used to be. And so I don't think it's a bubble yet.
Agreed. And the other thing I think the government really needs to do is the Canadian government anyway, not the U.S. government, the Canadian government. They need to really sort out their taxing, because they can lower interest rates all they want, which is really going to help. But I think the biggest obstacle for Canadians right now is that we're being taxed to death, especially in out west and in Ontario specifically. It's unbelievable. We can go into a whole different discussion on the carbon tax and stuff, which this is not a political channel, so we won't really dive into that. But there's a lot more work to be done, let's just say, in the Canadian government. But it's good to see that they're at least trying. They're doing something. They're recognizing that there is a problem. Finally, I don't know if it's from pressure from the opposition or if they're seeing it themselves. But either way, they're doing something about it, which is good to see. Finally.
You heard that Juan's best friend Trump, he's going to try to abolish the federal tax. Did you hear that?
For all Americans, I did read that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Chart, you got to enjoy that. How do you feel about that one? A little bit of good news, huh?
It's funny. I was having that conversation with a friend of mine, and me and Crypto Crazy No, and we were discussing exactly that. For example, in the AE, there is no federal tax. Something, whatever, somewhere in Saudi. With that being said, and how no one's really talking about doing something like that. And then as soon as we talk about it, 2 days later, Trump says, it sounds like something that's doable. Not that he said he was going to do it, but sounds like something that is doable.
Yeah.
And, to me, I'm pro that if he can solve where that money's going to come from, right? I don't want a whole billionaires tax thing again, where the billionaires get these tax cuts and we pay for it. And I don't want that. But if he can figure that out, then he'll gain points with me. But again, if he can figure it out.
Wait. Did I hear you right?
I heard that. I heard that. I'm writing this down.
Yeah, listen, man. Like I'm pro us. At the end of the day, I'm pro us. But he hasn't shown us. He's shown him and his people. Right? I want us, the middle class, the lower class, and he hasn't shown that yet. But listen, no federal tax, amazing, right? But it has to be rules and regulations around it. It just can't be, I'm going to put a $10 trillion deficit just to win an election. Right. Sorry, it doesn't make no sense.
No. But you know what? Even the simple fact of him bringing it up, and he must have some kind of an idea of how he would do it. It's something that has probably not in my lifetime ever been even suggested by any political party. It's pretty wild, especially if he does decide to actually give it a go, if he does win the election, that is, and if he does give it a go, even if he doesn't cut taxes completely. I mean, if he slashes them, that's huge for Americans.
No, I totally agree. That's what we're looking forward to, right? Have those taxes slashed. But again, right, we can't have that below the deficit, because that's why we have the inflation that we do today, right? Mm-hmm. So, and doing these tariffs across the board ain't can pay for it. It's just not, because we end up paying that. So as long as we can do this without burdening pricing, without burdening the average American, great. I'm all for it. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's possible, and with Elon in Trump's right ear, he's a financial guru, so maybe there's something that he knows or has a thought about could include Bitcoin. For all we know, maybe the U.S. will start accumulating Bitcoin on the balance sheet and a long-term plan to help cut taxes or reduce the deficit, whatever their plan is. So who knows? I guess time will tell.
Maybe he's staking XRP.
I had my brother and I were having a conversation today. I'm sure the listeners remember Crypto Cruiser. He used to do our Smash or Pass, and I had told him I sold my XRP, months and months ago now, and where I reallocated those funds have done 2-3x's, and he's still holding on to half of it, like a good majority of his XRP. And I just shook my head. Why are you holding on to that crap? I'll admit, I used to be an XRP believer, but there's kind of like the Cardano ADA holders and lovers out there. You can only hold and believe in something for so long, and when nothing's happening, nothing's going on, you got to move on. You can't you can't fall in love with your investments, because if you do, you'll end up on the wrong side of positive. And unfortunately, anybody who's holding onto their XRP, if you believe in it long term, fine, so be it. But this bull market right now, not financial advice, it's not going to get you any gains. I mean, allocate that money somewhere else where you can actually make a little bit of profit in this bull market, and then reinvest when the bull market's over into the bear market. Nothing wrong with that. If you feel that XRP is going to, be something down the road or have some kind of a use case, which there's all kinds of rumors that there will be, and the financial payment system, but it hasn't been proven. Nothing's been said or come out to say otherwise. So yeah, I feel bad for some people that are holding on to it.
Let me just back up crazy a little bit here too. I know that we all get excited when we first purchase and make money or trying to support a project we love. But don't fall for the rhetoric, diamond hands, diamond hold, this, that. No, man, do you. At the end of the day, it's your money. It's your investment. Sometimes it makes sense to get out and come back when the price dropped, right? Because if you still believe in it, it'll still be there. And it might be at a better price for you. Take advantage of that. Don't just sit there. Additionally, just want to shout out to Block Farm again over here, talking about inflation. None of the accumulated inflation has been fixed yet. Just a foreseeable increase has dropped. Totally agree. And I think that's one of the issues with capitalism, right? You have a state of a business who has to decide, do I support my investors or do I support the employees that work under me? And this is one of the challenges there, right? And when you have this much increased profits and that inflation dropped, the rate dropped to 2.4, but pricing is still up 21% overall. So does a company say, let me drop these prices and make less money? So those are the challenges that, these gurus need to figure out, and hopefully whichever administration takes over addresses that head on.
Good point. Okay, so looking at the rest of the crypto market, I know Chart, you and myself, we're big fans of Solana, as well as any others. Is there anything? I know you like to follow the election tokens and meme coins and stuff like that, but outside of all of that, what's something that you haven't really talked about on any of your streams, and something that you have a little bit of belief in, or at least hopium that's going to do well? Do you have anything like that you would share?
I mean, I've tried to share as much as I can, right, during the streams. I'm trying to be comprehensive in that sense, right? I'm not going to hold too much back. I guess the only thing you got to do in a bull run setting is to keep an eye on the tokens you're actually playing, right? Just don't lose sight of them. What I mean by that is, like, if they're underperforming, make sure you do your due diligence and ask yourself, okay, do I need to switch out of this project, right? Remember, never marry a project, ever marry a project. So, like, if you're buying into something you believed in, a year ago, and things do change, don't think that narrative is going to stay the same. So, my suggestion, or my thing for everybody that's listening in is, do an overview of your portfolio all the time. Like, check your tokens, see whether or not one is stronger than the other. If you find something that's better off, do make that trade, right? Like, you don't have to do a full trade of something. Maybe do 50% of something you don't believe it's going to be good down the road. Like, I used to have a lot of VRA, for example. That's veracity.
Yeah,
I'm all out of that now, because I really don't believe in the essence of veracity anymore. Even though it's like a low buy and it's got supposed potential on the chart, I don't really care anymore. I really don't, because I do understand what they're trying to do, but it's not for me. And I don't want to be a part of something like that and just hope that things are going to be turning around. So you got to do an overview all the time with your portfolio.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It brings up another point with me is last bull market, I was one of the ones that many others had the same issue where, you get into projects, you make a lot of money, you think the price is going to keep going up, and then you ride it all the way down. I was one of those unfortunate victims. So I learned a lot last bull market and then over the bear market. So what I did this time is I kind of sectioned the bull market up, and I had tokens that I would watch in the bear market. If they were building, I believed in, I would, DCA. And there were certain areas of the bull market where if a token wasn't doing what it should have been doing, or what the better tokens were doing, I would keep my eye on them. We're now at the point of the bull market where, most things had a dip, a couple months ago, 40, 50, 60% on some of the altcoins. If they haven't returned to close to, if not around the same levels that they were before that correction, they're probably not going to do very, very well. That's just my opinion, but I believe we're at the part of the bull market where tokens really got to start moving. And if they haven't started moving yet, they may not. And like you said, it might be time to reassess some of those tokens that you're in that have not fully recovered. Hopefully you're still in the green. If you can reallocate those into something that is going to continue up, like the Solanas and like the Suis and the Supers and, gaming and AI and all the other really good narratives. But if you're in something that's not moving, it might be time to reassess. Yeah,
it's the 50% rule, right? So for every retracement, the bounce back should be about 50% from where the run was. And so if your token is so far down, it needs so much more energy or more liquidity to move to that 50th percentile. And so, when you're looking at these setups, you got to ask yourself, is there a chance of this happening? Does this fundamental analysis on this token make any sense? Is the community active? Is the Twitter active? Are they doing spaces? Are they doing streams? Are they interacting? Are they at the conferences? And so on and so forth. Like, there's a lot of things you got to ask yourself. And then you can say to yourself after that, all right, this project definitely has enough liquidity to make that 50% move back to where normal is. And so It just takes time and it takes a lot of assessment. But if you don't have that feeling, then find something better.
Yeah, if they're not where you want them to be. Yeah, there's a lot out there. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, for anyone who's new in this market, when we hit the banana zone, like the euphoria part of the bull market, everything's going to pump. It doesn't matter what it is. You could, close your eyes, throw a dart at the wall, and whatever token you land on, it's going to pump. But that's not the point. I mean, there are certain projects that are going to do much better than others. So you want to make sure you're in those plays, because you want to take full advantage of this bull market. We may not see another one like it. I mean, they're diluting cycle after cycle, and the next bull market, I mean, yeah, there will be gains, but it won't be like they are this bull market, just like they weren't last bull market and the bull market before that. But you definitely want to be in the plays that you're going to be able to make the most gains and earn the biggest return. And that's subjective. You can't just listen to any YouTuber as to which ones to pick. I mean, yeah, you got to follow the narrative and kind of get a feel, be on all the socials, get a feel for what's popular and what's going to do well. Now, that being said, I'm actually going to be recording a couple of different videos. I'm actually going to be using a site called Defi Llama, which it really helps you choose the chains that are doing well and then the ecosystem within them on how to pick different projects that you can invest in. So that'll be one. Another one would be kind of the same thing, using Defi, Deck Screener on how to pick different meme coins. If you're into that kind of thing, I don't recommend getting into meme coins, but I mean, there have been people that have hit the jackpot and made a lot of money. And you can, if you play it smartly and do it properly. And then also I'm going to be doing one on like different leverage strategies, but the one that I've been using if you are into leverage trading. Again, I don't recommend doing leverage trading. For anyone who's never done it, you will get wrecked. But if you've been doing leverage trading for a little while, you've had your ups and downs, but you still haven't quite pinpointed a strategy, I'm going to be doing a quick video on my strategy. And then, of course, if you join the DGens Discord, well, there's all kinds of trading channels in there, different chart masters and different traders. You can really learn a lot. So if you are into doing leverage trading, do it at your own risk. But if you do want to learn, there's many different ways. Stay tuned to the channel and check out the links below in the description, because there's all kinds of information and ways to get help with that.
Yeah, for anyone who wanted to learn, definitely recommend spot trading first before you get into even leverage trading. Very risky. Again, depending on the leverage, depending on how confident you are, definitely can definitely hurt your wallet easy. Use the tools available. There's stuff like CoinMarketCap. You can see all the trends. You can see it by hour, by 24 hours, by 7 days, and kind of just look at, did you see any big drops lately? Maybe that's a value buy for you. Or maybe you saw a huge pump and a retracement's coming. It's a good time for a short. Those are decisions you can make. You can click on the token, stuff like that. Again, this is not me pumping CoinMarketCap as a website to visit, but more as a tool you guys can use to kind of make better decisions instead of just listening to a bunch of YouTubers spout luck. At the end of the day, it's your money. You need to make the effort. There are no get quick schemes out there. Get rich quick schemes out there. So take your time. Yeah, right. It was. Take your time, guys. Learn it right, and maybe you'll find your next pivot.
Yep. And I got CoinMarketCap pulled up now. The other thing you can look at as well is trending coins. There's always a trending coin list. If you start seeing different projects that are trending multiple times, like you see them there more than once or twice, maybe one to look into, because if it's something trending, then obviously there's something going on there. Currently, BTC is the #1 trending coin, which often it is. And then Solana is there as well. Yeah, there's a lot of information on CoinMarketCap. There's so many different things you can look into. It gives you the total market cap, the fear and greed, which gives you an indication of the sentiment in the market. Bitcoin and Ethereum dominance. Bitcoin currently at 57.8%, which has been there for a little while, and we need to see that to drop. Because when Bitcoin dominance drops, that means the liquidity is going into the altcoins, and when the altcoins start going up, that's when we get really, really happy. And then, of course, there's other things you can, different rankings. You can check the entire chart, trending leaderboards, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you click on here, it gives you more, detailed data on the fear and greed. and everything else that's going on in the market. So yeah, CoinMarketCap is a very useful tool, especially if you want to get get a finger's pulse on what the market is doing.
Totally agree.
Let's see what we got for time. 50 minutes. We're doing pretty good. Okay, before we close up the stream, is there any last words either one of you wish to discuss or talk about? Anything you've heard that's going on in the market? Start with you, Chart.
Nothing really. I actually heard that what's his name? Is it Peter Todd? He went into hiding because of his, I guess, HBO disclosure of him being possibly Satoshi, and so he actually went into hiding because of it. He just didn't need to be in the public side anymore because, of course, once he was proclaimed to be the founder of Bitcoin, people were calling him and asking for money and looking for him and asking for donations. Like you would never ever want to be Satoshi, right? Even if you were, you would never want to disclose that.
No.
So when I see like Craig Wright try to disclose that he's Satoshi, I'm like, you're just not, because obviously you never want to have that on your shoulders, right? And so the issue with that is, could it be Sassaman? Because could it be Hal Finney? We don't know, but so far I think his name is Peter Todd. I might be wrong on the name, but
I think that's
he
right.
looks to be the one. Yeah.
Yeah, we shall see. Juan, yourself?
Keep an eye on the Forex market again. Gold is making another move. It looks like there's a little downtrend coming before it takes another pump up. So definitely for those who want to get into the market, you want to check it out, see how Forex is done. Definitely check out the charts, do some research, and see if you can hedge your bets on a move on gold. It's one of those things that you don't need a lot to start, easy to get into. Addition to that, as far as news, look at the bonds yields for the US dollar. Definitely took a hit, took a little tumble. When it does that, usually it rebounds very well, and you can kind of make a little small killing for your investment. It's always great to diversify in different areas, so that way you guys can have a future, a present, and a future for your kids. So this is one of the ways that you can diversify by getting into different things like bonds and yields and stuff like that. But other than that, right now, I'm looking forward towards next week. Lots of news coming up in the Forex market from Jolt's reports and such like that. So should be an exciting time.
Awesome. Okay. Appreciate it, guys. Another week in the books. I really appreciate you guys coming on each and every week. And I'm looking forward to continuing doing it. Don't forget, for everyone listening or watching right now, make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the description for all the links for everything we talked about today, for the DGen's Discord, as well as DeFi University and the Telegram. Once again, I appreciate everyone for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. See you guys later. Yep. See you, Juan. See you, crazy.
Later, guys.
Get around to the ready. Yeah, crypto friends, the show starts.